Hello, Andrea Saint Amand. Today I'm going to challenge you to release your old tired story, a story that doesn't work for you anymore. So story is like anything else. There's an upside, there's a downside. Story can be our best friend. Story can get us imaginative and playful and start thinking, where do I want to be this time next year? Or, oh, I wish, blah, blah, blah. But story can really rise up and nip us in the rear and be terrible and hold us back if it's an old story that doesn't serve us anymore. So I really want to challenge you all both with spiritual work and emotional work, to challenge your story, because in spiritual and emotional journeys, that's where the rubber meets the road. So let's break that down a little bit. Most of us have a story that is informing our present life from our past. Hi, Cynthia. So think about, all of us have, we think we have a story of our lives and it's all past, right? I'm going to challenge you guys to write a new story that is based on the future. So it takes all your past, it takes all of your incredible life experiences, and I know a lot of those life experiences are crappy and yucky and nasty and painful, but it takes all those life experiences and propels you into a new story for the future that is big and expansive and full of fun and imagination. So look at how story is showing up. Is it showing up in a label? Is it showing up with a story of trauma or loss? So a lot of us, like with labels, for instance, it's really comfortable to say, well, I'm a lawyer, or I'm a nurse, or I'm a teacher, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm this, or I'm that. But labels can really narrowly define us, right? And they can keep us limited, because then if you're this, you can't be that. That's how we're taught to think. But stories of trauma and stories of loss, stories of grief can also really hold us back after, an extended period of time. And those are the stories that are really hard to let go of. I know I had one. I carried around a story of loss forever. And it's almost like you're afraid to give up that story, because if you give it up, you're getting rid of that person, and that's not the case. You're not getting rid of your love for that person, but you are creating space for a new story. But so many of us allow stories of trauma to stay with us and define who we are going forward. I'm actually reading a great book on shamanism, about spirits of trauma and stories of trauma right now, and how they can really kind of not just hold us back, but grow and be terrible. So think about, what would happen if we released our stories? What would happen if we released our labels and we released our story? And the truth is, as soon as you start to release a story that's based on your past, it's scary. It's really uncomfortable, because if it's a story that's deeply entrenched with who we are, suddenly our whole identity, our whole sense of self is up for grabs. That's scary. So the first thing our ego wants us to do is run back to the story that we're safe with, right? So know that if you start to release a story, you might not have a new one to grow into yet. You can make one up. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it's going to be uncomfortable, like getting from the old you into a newer, expansive story. Is going to be uncomfortable. You're going to get scared. There's going to be some confusion, and that's okay. If you know that going in, and you like, all right, this is going to be uncomfortable, just go sit with it. Then you can get through the discomfort, because the discomfort of changing your story is not going to kill you. It's just not. But it is going to create space for you to grow into a bigger, new you. So when we think about labels, this is really true in the spiritual community. I had a friend who's a professional medium, and all of a sudden one day she just called it out. And she's like, I don't even know what to call myself anymore. There's all these newfangled titles going around. Like, I used to be able to just say I'm a medium, and that covered everything. It covered psychic and intuition and medical intuitive and animal stuff. And it covered everything. And she goes, now there's all these words like spiritual medium, psychic medium, intuitive coach. She goes, what the heck am I? So I watched her website. She just kept playing around. And when I first had a website up, I didn't know what to call myself. And my web designer said, put it all out there. So he said, and I was really uncomfortable with that. I said, well, don't I have to have a title? Don't people need to know what I'm doing? He said, well, just put it in different spots on the website. So one spot I had a spiritual medium, one part I had intuit, one part I had psychic medium. And he was right. I eventually just grew into whatever I felt kind of comfortable with. But sometimes if you do put a label on yourself, you get stuck there. And the worst thing that can happen, especially on your spiritual journey, is that you go into your spiritual journey thinking you already know who you are. Like, I really was convinced I was a medium. I mean, because I could talk to dead people. I never in a million years would have guessed that where my love is reading energy through the Akashic records. And I love that. I love working with people through that. I love helping people get into their own gifts and their own energy and clearing and releasing old energy balls that don't work. Something that's come up just in the last month that I am not happy with, but that I'm open to, I want nothing to do with, is medical stuff. I've started seeing energy. I've started seeing people having, like, looking at someone and seeing something that's going on with them energetically, that physically. I've smelled people the last week. Oh my God, that's awful. It's the worst. It's not where I want my gifts to go. But sometimes spirit has a different direction for you. So my point in telling you that is, if you start on a spiritual journey or an emotional journey, be open, because you don't know where it's going to take you. You have no idea what you're going to keep learning, and where you're going to go. And it's awesome to be open. But we got to get you to be open first. If you are back in the, well, I can't do this or I can't do that, or any story whatsoever that is holding you back, or any limiting idea that is holding you back, that's the trigger. That's a story that's not helping you. Anything that has the root that you are limited in any way, any story that does not come from a place that you are a divine human being and it is our birthright to be abundant. Any story that is different from that, kick it to the curb. I don't care how entrenched it is in your identity. Kick it to the curb. Let's write a new one. You have no idea, if you start playing and heading toward a new story, this time next year you might be channeling angels and having picnics with unicorns. Serious. That actually has happened to some people I know. I haven't yet to see a unicorn. I wish I could. I wish that was my thing. So challenge you guys, write your new story below, post it, or private message it to me. Even if your story is, I don't know, but I want to start playing, have at it. It can be a story that you slowly start to grow into, but get rid of the old one if it's holding you back. Let's start playing and getting you into a new story. And if you want special work on this, reach out to me personally. We can work on that. We can also get you into your spiritual gifts when you are ready, and into your energetic gifts, which is so exciting. So I look forward to hearing your new story that is going to bring you abundance and make you more of a badass than you already are right now. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.